Honestly Sis is an independently owned and operated company. If you love what you hear, consider donating at www.honestlysis.com or becoming a member to our Substack. If you are unable to support financially, please consider supporting energetically by sharing this podcast to your favorite social media timeline. Now let's go ahead and get into the show. Live from Detroit, Michigan, this is the Honestly Sis Podcast, Activation Edition. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome. If you are new to this podcast, welcome back. If you are subscribed, I am your host, Honest Am, the creator and writer of the Honestly Sis newsletter, a bi-weekly newsletter geared to millennials or anyone else who's truly trying to get their shit together. This week, we have an activation episode, and our activations is all about giving you the tools, the insights, and the channeling to become the alchemist of your life. So this week activation is going to be all about what we talked about last week. If you did not listen to the last week we had a episode that was all about cheat codes to life. And basically the cheat code to life is knowing yourself. We also talked about shrooms and other wellness tools and techniques that can help you. And so this week we're going to go talk to our divine and channel some guidance on why is it so important to change? Why is it so important for us to know ourselves? And just any other insights or information that our ancestors deem worthy for us to hear at this time. So I want you to go ahead, no matter where you are, I want you to just take a moment to just pause, maybe take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. If you are safe and if you are able to, I ask that maybe you just put one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. If you can't do that with your hands, just touch and agree with me. You can still do the breaths. I want you to go ahead, take another deep inhale in through your nose and out through your mouth. One more deep inhale in through your nose. And the biggest exhale you had all day. If you need to, go ahead and shake it out. Right. And just touch and agree with me as we tap into these energies. Right. So the space has been open. And so this week our quote is coming from our ancestor James Baldwin. And the ancestor. And the quote goes as follows: not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. Again, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. James Baldwin. And so we're going to go ahead and pull some cards and really dive into this quote, really dive into that theme of getting to know ourselves and really learning the cheat codes to life. And so if this is your first time here, the flow of the episode typically goes, I will pull some of my angel cards just to give us some more further energy and some guidance on this theme that we have going this week. Then I will pull us some tarot cards from our Modern Witch Tarot. If you are watching a video, I'm showing you these decks. Then I will get us a tool for us to help ground down the energies that we have, something to actually help us throughout our life. I will not read this tool. If you want to learn more about this tool, please go and become a member to our Substack for just $5. You can become a member and help support the channel. And then we'll wrap it up again with pulling a sacred rebel Again, I will not read the card in its entirety. To get that information, you will have to find that on our Substack page. So www.substack.com/honestly sis. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into these cards. All right. And love is peeking up here. So love may be an unintentional theme. Angel number 655 on the clock. The three cards that came out is Purification. If you can see this, Purification, for the people who are watching this on a video, you can see the video of this on our YouTube page, same name, Honestly Sis. To find that, you can look at www.honestlysis.com/offerings or free offerings, or you can just go to the website, click on the offering tabs, and that will direct you to our YouTube page. But anyway, so we have this card of Purification come out. Next up is Transformation. And Light. Ooh, light is right in the middle of this all. And so purification, we have this angel praying and there's just like some sweat coming off. When I think about purification, I think about removing things that are no longer serving you. For some reason, I'm getting this image of being in kind of a sweat lodge. And so, you go into those sweat lodges or you go into a sauna to help get those toxins out of your body. And so I do feel like right now we may be going through this time where we are, or maybe you may be going through this time in your life where there's just a lot of things that has been taken away, or you feel like things are just coming up left and right. All of these things are coming up so that you can purify yourself. Recently, I had read this quote in the Conversations with God, and it talks and I don't know the direct quote, but so it says along the lines of, "You only change yourself when it is no longer." You only make a change to who you are if it is no longer in alignment with who you deem yourself to be. Does that make sense? You only change yourself when who you are when you only change yourself when who you are is no longer in alignment with who you wish to be. Okay. And so if you have a lot of things that are coming up in your life right now, all of these things are coming up because the universe, God, whatever word you want to use, is just trying to get your attention, and it's asking you, hey, is this who you are? Hey, is this who you want to be? And so for me, I have been having a lot of things about just finances, money issues coming up. And it actually is very funny because I realized that this was the first time all year, I didn't even recognize it. This was my first time in my entire life where I didn't have to worry about money, where everything was just working out. And then, I went on the trip kind of last minute, and it got me into this financial bind, and it's really making me pay attention to my money habits. Before, I used to just be like, oh, I'm just I don't want to be like my mom, or this, I'm being like my mom. And now it's like I'm recognizing that I was using that as an excuse, that, oh, my mom was bad with money, so that means I'm going to be bad with money. No, the reason why I'm bad with money is because I have been absent-minded with money. I treat due dates like they're a suggestion. But if I actually, focus on this area of my life, if I actually put the due dates in my phone, if I actually pay the bills on time, then I will be in a much better place. And so this has been coming up for me to recognize, like, I want to be more responsible. I want to go on trips and not have to come back and worry about bills. I want to be on trips and not have to worry about how much money I have, or if I'm going to be okay to take care of this expense. I want to be responsible when I travel. It made me realize that I've been traveling a lot these last 2 to 3 years, but really I was like traveling out of survival. I was, trying to, find some excitement in my life. And yes, it helped. Yes, it helped me, get my energy back. It helped me feel like I was more myself. But I also realized in that process, I was not being financially responsible. And so now all of these issues are coming up. It's forcing me to pay attention to that and for me to say, you know what? I want to be better with my finances. I know that I can handle this better. And because I'm aware of that, because I'm paying attention to what's coming up, now I can have a true transformation. And this is the process of what you're going through. You're having a lot of stuff coming up because God is saying, hey, in order for you to truly transform into who you want to be, you have to address these things. And so this week, this month, if you have a lot of stuff coming up, instead of getting very frustrated, instead of saying, woe is me, really ask yourself, okay, this stuff that is coming up, is it hindering me from transforming into who I want to be? With this card of transformation coming out, it's a very beautiful card. I got this light. I'm trying to show you. Okay, yeah, can you see it now? Yes. And it's a beautiful card because it really shows like this angel, and it has like a dark side and it has this light side, and it has like all these different colors blending in. And for some reason it's giving me that synthesis card, which is the card that's missing out of the deck. But it's showing me that God is trying to show you that all of these bits and pieces about yourself, like a lot of us, let me talk about me. Let me not talk for me. This morning I did some I was doing my morning pages, and I before I had did my morning pages the day before, I had wrote a letter for Honestly Sis. And it was just allowing me to realize again with this purification card, a lot of stuff about my past relationships were coming up. And I realized that I had an issue with putting other people's opinions above the opinions of my relationship, of my partner, and above myself. And I realized that it was not just enough for me to be in love. It was not just the love for me to have a man, but I had to brag and I had to show everybody that I had accomplished this thing. And so as I was doing my morning pages, it made me realize, like, you know what? This is no longer serving me. I realized that my people pleasing ways and me putting the opinions of other above myself, it was not just affecting my life, it was affecting every aspect of my life. That people pleasing was not just, affecting me. It ultimately ended up affecting my relationship, and it affected my relationship in ways of, in an old relationship, I had an ex fly me up to, fly me back home for Valentine's Day. And instead of just enjoying our Valentine's Day together, he really tried to like make this a very special weekend for me. My friend, quote unquote, at the time she was crossing, and I wanted to be at her probate. And me and him got into an argument, and I ended up interrupting my Valentine's Day weekend to go be with this quote unquote friend that I didn't even talk to anymore after that. And she barely spent 5 minutes with me. So I felt so stupid driving back home. And like, I've called all of this disruption in my home for somebody who could barely even give me 5 minutes of their time after I literally, did all this to come up there for them. And then I had another situation of where, I was in this organization and I loved this organization so much, and they were like family, and I just all of these things. And we had an orientation, and I didn't necessarily need it to be there, but it was on my boyfriend's birthday, and I left my boyfriend to go be with the organization. And so I say that because it made me realize that my people pleasing ways, me wanting to, make others people happy, me taking other people's opinions of above my own, was no longer serving me. And so I need to change that. I need to allow that to fall away so that I can transform into the person that I'm truly meant to be. And I tell you that because it's not like I'm saying I'm a horrible, yeah, I mean, yes, I was a horrible girlfriend for doing that. But this transformation card, God is saying like the things that are going on in your life, like for one, God is not like Santa Claus. He's not out here judging you. He's not making a list. He's not saying, oh, did you do the right thing? He's not doing any of those things. So when it comes down to changing yourself or transforming yourself, you're not transforming yourself for the world. You're not transforming yourself to, be some version of what the world wants you to be. You transform yourself because it is no longer serving you. And so when these things are coming up, instead of worrying about how your mama may feel, how your boyfriend may feel, how your girlfriend may, whatever, ask yourself, okay, is this thing in alignment with me? Me being late all the time. It's not about you inconveniencing other people, even though it is. But ask yourself, do I chronically want to be that person that's constantly showing up all the time? Does this make me feel good? Is this how I want to show up in the world? And if it's not, then it's on you to transform. The last card that came out is light, and that's what all of this is about. I think what God really wants us to realize is this thing about knowing yourself. It's not about being strict. I really think that you guys need to understand that God is not this judgmental man in the sky, judging all your actions, making sure everything is right. No, when we say that you are a God and that God is you, that means that God literally made himself. He literally was like, you know what? I want to know what it is like to be a little Black girl from Detroit who loves art. So he created Am. You know what? I want to know what it's like to be one of the best, greatest basketball players in the world and also still take care of my society. So then he created LeBron James. You know what? I want to dance my ass off and be the biggest person that I could be. So he became Beyonce. And so do you see what I'm saying? God created you because he wanted to express a version of himself within you. And so if there's something that you are doing and you are not comfortable with it anymore, then that means that's the change. That's on you to transform it or to change it. But you don't change it because of other people. You see what I'm saying? Like I think that the key of getting to know yourself and what God's message is all about is when things are coming up, you don't change it or you don't try to transform yourself unless it brings you closer to the light, unless it brings you closer to that godly version of yourself. But if not, leave it alone. So I mean, on a very small scale, and then I'm gonna go to this cards. What I'm getting is like, if say you smoke a lot of weed and you've been beating yourself up because you smoke a lot of weed, but you're doing this because it's keeping you, balanced, it's keeping you all of these things. And so if it's not really affecting you from the light, if it's not allowing you to do evil, nasty things, then do you really need to change it? Yes, society may say it's bad for you to smoke a lot of weed, but if you know it's helping you, that it's keeping you balanced, then why would you change it? You see what I'm saying? Like, I think God is trying to get us to understand. I'm going to change the cards that we're going to get our tools out of, but God is trying to get us to really understand, angel number 1010, that the most important opinion is our own. You should only be changing and transforming yourself when things come up in your light come up in your life that is no longer a reflection of who you deem yourself to be, aka the light being that you are in a human body. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone. That's beautiful, actually. All right, God, clarify this message of purification, light, and transformation. Purification, light, and transformation. What do you want us to know about these cards? Why is it so important for us to only change for ourselves, to only change to bring us closer to the light? Allow us to have no room for doubt, confusion in me or the viewer's mind. Why is this so important? Clarify this message of purification, light, and transformation. Okay. Five of Swords too. Some internal conflict. Ooh, I love this. I love this. So some of you guys may be having some conflict coming up. Again, that conflict is coming up because it wants you to really get clear on who you are. A lot of us go back to our quote. Where's our quote again? Our quote says, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. And so you have a lot of stuff that is coming up in your life. And if you constantly keep ignoring it, or if you like, it's not that big of a deal. So say, for example, the whole letter that I was writing is because I feel like everywhere I look, there's couples everywhere, right? And so what I need to really deal with is my loneliness. Deal with the fact that I want a relationship and I'm not in one right now. And so I had asked myself the other day, like, okay, Am, what would happen if God never gave you, if you never had a partner? What if this was your life? What if you were supposed to be single with a dog and traveling the world? Would you be happy? And I literally said, no, I will not be happy. And I refuse to believe that God would do that to me. And it's not because I'm like denying my reality, but I am affirming my beliefs. I'm affirming what I want since I was a little girl. That's why I was writing in this letter. Since I was a little girl, I have had dolls that I called my baby. I have played house. I have dreamed and talked about my kids. And even now as an adult, like I talk about angel number 222 on the clock. I talk about, how I'm excited to take my daughter to her first spa day. I'm excited to show my son how to pick flowers and how to arrange them. I'm excited to show my daughter how to, take care of her hair. I'm excited to show my son like all of these sound healing and these techniques and skills that I've learned. So for me, acknowledging that no, I will not be happy if this is my life is not that I'm denying my reality. It's me accepting what I want to have. And so that's why God is saying the conflict is coming up because you need to address it. You need to address whatever it is, whether it's conflict with your parents, whether it's conflict with your siblings, whether it's conflict in your job. It's coming up because God is asking you, hey, is this who you truly want to be? Is this truly how you want your life to go? If not, it's time to transform it. It's time to change it. Okay. And you don't have to do this feeling like you're sneaking around. You don't have to do this feeling like you are this six of swords. To me, this card really deals with imposter syndrome. And I feel like the reason why all of these things are coming up and why God is trying to force you to do some self-reflection is because he's trying to get you to see like you're not being an imposter. You're not doing something that is outside the norm. I remember when I was first starting to do tarot, I did so many, y'all, I asked God so many times, like, give me a sign, give me a sign, give me a sign. I got 3 signs and I still was like, but are you sure, God? And then finally I had 2 things happen. I did this very randomly. I did I did in my Akashic records. And then I had randomly went to a festival and I met a bone reader there. And like both of them was like, yeah, in your past life, you used to do this. Like, this is what you used to do. And so it made me realize like, oh, like I'm not trying to, be somebody I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to, be sneaky or trying to position myself in a certain type of way. I am wanting to do these things. I am doing these things because it is very natural to me. It is what I've been doing in past lives and clearly what I came back to do again. And so what God is saying, all of these things are coming up to get you to see, hey, it's not that you have imposter syndrome or you're trying to be somebody that you're not, but it's just that you could be still operating off of some faulty information. Have you ever like had your phone and like it's not really working well? And then you realize, oh, it's because you need to get an update. Like there's an update. Once you get the update, your phone start running smoothly. Same thing can happen in our life. You are operating at your 21, 18-year-old self. And your body and the universe is trying to send all these things to be like, hey, boo, you 35. Hey, boo, you 30. Hey, you grown. You're not who you used to be. And so now it's time for you to really address these things so that you can move on. You can't move on until you address these things. It's a whole line. You can't heal what you don't reveal. So again, all of this stuff is coming up because it's like, hey, do you really want to? And that's why it's coming up because you've been saying, I want to transform. I want to change. I want to be a better person. I want to have better friends. I want to have a better partner. I want to have more fulfilling relationships. And then the universe is bringing up all of this stuff and all of these old relationships. And you're like, well, why is this coming up? Because you need to address the old shit before you can get the new. That's how you change. Like, I can honestly say that I am wholeheartedly ready for another relationship because I looked at my past relationship and I didn't just look at that relationship. I looked at the one before and the one after. And I literally looked at my patterns. I looked at how I operated in that relationship. I looked at how I moved in that relationship, even down to the bad shit that I did and the stuff that I did that could have made the relationship go off the rails. Not saying that I'm taking full ownership, but it's like, relationships don't just end because of one person. And so for me, so if I truly see myself in partnerships and if I truly want to be this wife, then I have to be honest about the times that I haven't been a good partner. I have to be honest about the times that I failed, whether that makes me feel good or not. Like, I talked to you guys about me putting other people's above my relationship, but when I was younger, my anger and my attitude was so bad that I had a partner that was like damn near scared of me because I would just pop off on him. And so it's like I have to recognize all of these things that I am contributing to make a relationship fail so that when it comes time for me to do it again, and inevitably that same lesson, that same pattern is going to come up again. Instead of doing it again, I can change. I can be like, aha, that's that pattern that I've, been through before. That's that thing that I typically do. And now I can do something else. But you'll never be able to stop that if you don't actually go through the process, if you don't actually review and look at all the shit you've been through. What comes up for transformation is death, which is the best card because God is saying, hey, if you actually address these things, if you act, and also, first of all, double confirmation, transformation. And so God is like, hey, if you actually address all of these things that comes up and stop trying to sneak away from it, stop trying to tiptoe around it, but really face all of your feelings head on, then guess what? You can change. And then you don't have to do it again. Because when it does come up, you can look at it and you can see it for what it is because you are aware. That's what the light is all about. Now you are aware of your pattern. You are aware of your cycle. So when you find yourself entering or about to do it again, you can do something different. And then that's the death. That's the end of the cycle. But you're never going to get to the end of the cycle if you don't even address or acknowledge what's going on. Okay. For light, what came up is the King of Wands, and I'm gonna hurry up. The King of Wands is all about the King of Wands literally takes the one wand. So you go from the stick that's out the cloud. So you take this idea that God gave you, and then you bring it all the way to fruition to where you rule, where you bring this kingdom, where you build this kingdom for yourself, this kingdom that you built off of your talents, off of your insights. And for a lot of you guys, you're wondering, well, why don't I have the blessing? Why don't I have this big kingdom? Why isn't everything working out for me? And the reason why is not because God, you're not good enough. It's not because you're not worthy enough. It's because you're not paying attention to your patterns. You are not learning yourself. You are not aware of your patterns to the self that you know yourself to avoid the patterns again. And that's why you keep going through the cycle over and over. But this message right here is the cheat code. It's telling you when things come up in your life that makes you feel like you want to hide or run away, instead of hiding or run away, you face it head on. When you face it head on and you look at it and you ask you, okay, when it's going away, when you see this stuff falling away or this stuff coming in your face, you ask it, hey, is this who I want to be? Is this the best version of me? Is this the part that's going to bring me closer to the light? If it's not, you let it go away. If it is, you hold on to it. But obviously, if it's purified, that means it's no longer needed. And so you look at it, you look at the pattern that's associated with it, and then you release it. Then when it comes up again, as you go throughout your life, because it's going to come up again, you can see it for what it is. And instead of you doing that pattern again, you subject it, you do something else, and then you are transformed. Then it's the death of the cycle. And so for me, my last little example, one of the patterns that I used to have is I used to go from one relationship to another. I would get my heart broke. I would spend a year off, and then I would go back and get into another relationship. Heart broke, have a year off, go back into another serious ass relationship, right? Was not healing, was not identifying with all of this stuff, but that was because I was so afraid of being alone, right? And so now, this time, got my heart broke. I have been single for the last 5 years. I ain't mean for it to be this long, but I'm taking that time to really heal, to really get to know myself, so that when it is time for me to get back in a relationship, when I do find that person, and this time I'm being so like picky, and it's not that I'm being picky because I'm like, oh, these type of people are not for me, but it's like I'm so clear on the type of relationship I want to experience. I'm so clear on the type of man that I want. I don't want to be nobody project. I don't want to be nobody fixer upper. I don't want to be nobody healer. I want to be with my equal counterpart. And so until that person comes into my life, no, no, no. And I was verified in that by Nia Long. Like, you say no, and it may seem like you're being mean, but it's because you're telling the universe, no, that's not it. Give me another one. No, that's not it. It's like you're putting in an order with the universe. And eventually, by me saying no and me not settling, I'm transforming. I'm ending the cycle because I'm no longer so afraid to be with myself that I'm dealing with anybody. I can literally go pull out all of these numbers that I have from men literally just throwing themselves at me, but it's like, that's not what I want to experience. I want to experience something more. And when I get it, then I will go into that settle. I will go into that, go into the process again. But I'm not going into that process for anybody that is not equally yoked as me. Okay. And I think I'm going to be blessed for that. Okay. All right. So since we've been talking a lot about relationships and changing and opinions of others above our own, I'm actually going to get our tool from my relationship deck. So give me 2 seconds. So the last thing that I want to talk about is this Empress card that is under here. This Empress card is the underlying energy. And that's because we are in a very fertile time, especially as Black women. We're just in this period where we can equally effortlessly manifest anything. And of course, like, there's rules to it, there's labels to it. And a lot of this is, our blockages. Like, the only reason why you're not getting what you deserve is because, oh my God, look at this. The Ace of Wands. Look at that. Look at that. The Ace of Wands all the way to the King of Wands. Look at that. That was right under this Empress card. And so God is just saying, if we would accept that our natural birthright is to be creators, if we would accept that our natural birthright is to be gods, and that anything that we want, we can have. And so anything that you want, you can have. And if you know that you are a God, if something is coming up, it's coming up because it's telling you that something is blocking you from being this Empress. If you address it, instead of being sneaky and trying to move away from it, but you address it head on, then you would transform, you would end the cycle, and then you would be able to be the King of Wands. You'll be able to effortlessly manifest that thing. And also and it'll also increase your light because you'll start seeing your power, and you will see, oh yeah, the universe really wants the best for me. A really good example of that is, again, like I was telling you guys, I had a lot of stuff with money coming up. And I was like, oh my God, I need like an extra $1,000. Like, I really just need this. And at first I was like, that's such a ridiculous thing to think. But money can come through endless means. It is only the attitude that hindered the money from flowing, not the money. And I kept like telling myself that over and over. Like, it's only through money can come through endless means. My money is me blocking it. Money can come through endless means. It's me blocking it. And I kept saying that whenever I would find myself getting frustrated that, about the money, or when I started worrying about it. And guess what? I end up booking an event very randomly, got an event, came in, and I'm basically going to have the amount of money that I need, that I was asking the universe for. And so that just shows you that this works, that you can be the Empress, that you can manifest these things, but we have to be willing to train ourselves to get out of our head, to be like, okay, this can happen if I just get out of my way. And that's what this reading is all about. Okay, God, clarify this message of the Seven of Swords. Why is this coming out here? Clarify this purification method, this purification card. Why is the Seven of Swords here? Why is the Seven of Swords here? I just wanted to clarify that. And this is what came up is the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles came up for the Seven of Swords. And so again, it's like you want to feel confident, you want to feel like you are this business person that you can effortlessly manifest anything, but when you do, you feel sneaky, or you feel like it was a hoax. But God is trying to say it's not a hoax. This is something that you can do all the time if you would just address whatever's coming up, if you address the things that make you want to hide away, the things that make you feel like you're being an imposter. All right, so let's go ahead and give us a tool to just clarify this whole reading. Just one tool, dear God, guardian angels, and ancestors. Clarify this message of the Seven of Swords, the King of Wands, the Death, and the Empress, along with the Ace of Wands. Why is it so important for us to address everything that is coming up in order for us to transform and get closer to the light? Why are you asking us to transform? Why is it so important to know ourselves? In God's name I pray, Ashe. What do we need to know, ancestors? One card, please. The three cards that came out is every relationship I established is eternal. This comes for our purification. So just like you know that we are always again, this is just letting you know that we are energy beings, and that all the people that we are bringing into our lives, or all the situations that we are bringing into our lives, is because of our energy that we are putting out. And so again, if anything is coming up, you need to address it, because it's telling you, the universe is trying to tell you, hey, this is blocking your energy, or this is the energy signature you are giving off. The other card that came out is I'll not ask others to become different from me. Again, going back to that the beginning of the message that I was saying, you only change yourself when it is no longer in relationship with who you are. So if for somebody, I feel like you are in a relationship and lately you have been just asking that partner, well, you need to change this, and you need to change that, and you need to change that. And maybe your partner has been changing it, or they may have been budging a little bit. But what God is trying to get you to understand is that, us being in relationships is not to mold somebody into our perfect being. It's not to make somebody the ideal version of who we think they should be. If that person is no longer giving you what you need, instead of you constantly asking that person to change, maybe you need to change. And then the last thing that came out is flawed premises can't attract true unwanted evidence. This came with our transformation in the death card. And again, that's why God is saying you need to address things that are coming up. This card talks about how us just being in us coming from toxic households, or us observing toxic patterns over the years, that could because our subconscious don't know any difference between us and other people. All they're doing is just taking in all of the information. And so if you observed a lot of toxic habits and a lot of toxic patterns, you could naturally pick those things up. And it's not because you want them to, but because you observed them, you pick them up, then you can start attracting it to you. So again, that's why God is saying when stuff is coming up, you need to pay attention to it so that you can address it head on and get rid of that flawed premises, and you can start attracting better. Last but not least, the universe wants us to know that everything is always working out for you. So whether or not you feel like things are going in your favor, or you feel like, again, matter of fact, again, everything is always working out with you. So when these things are coming up, or even when bad shit is happening, the bad shit is really just coming up so that you can make that transformation. Sometimes, and that's why I had to realize for myself, sometimes you're not going to become the person you're meant to be until some shit happens, right? Until your everyday life is shooken up and it forces you to change. And so no matter whether this stuff that is happening to you is good or bad, God is just trying to get you to see that everything that is coming up for your good. And if you only just address it head on, you can see it through. This is also a 5/5 card. And so God is saying that we are about to move through this, we're moving through a time of great change. Saturn just got out of Aquarius. So if you have any Aquarius placement in your chart, or just overall, I just think humanity as a whole, we're going to start seeing these changes. And I don't know about you, but I've just been seeing it in the way that people interact with the Kardashians, with the way that everybody had, if you watch Love is Blind DC, the way that people have just been really on like Tyler and Ashley heads. It's more of an ethical thing, you know? And I think that when I see stuff like that, when I see like an overwhelming number of people saying, hey, we're not supporting deadbeat dads. We're not about to let you guys go off in the sunset if you're not taking care of your kids. That shows you that the universe and the world, we're moving in a different direction. And we're going to get there. You know, we just have to be a little bit patient, but we're going to get to this heaven on earth states. And it's going to happen just by us keep making those changes. And a lot of the big changes happen by us doing individual changes. And so this message is coming up because if you truly want to be the alchemist of your life, if you're truly trying to help bring heaven on earth, the best way to do that is to know yourself and to address your patterns, your habits, and to break them so that you can attract all those things that you truly want in life. Okay? All right, y'all. Our final message. And remember, I will be reading all of these cards in our tool section. So if you want to know this insight, make sure that you become a member on substack.com. Dear God, guardian angels, and ancestors, clarify this final message. This is coming from our Sacred Rebel, one of my favorite decks. All right, so the two cards that came out are Follow Your Own Rhythm. I love that. And it's also another card for a 5. So 555. If you have been seeing that a lot, your angels are trying to get your attention. They're really trying to show you like, hey, boo, you are about to go through a great change. And these things that are coming up, we're trying to just get you to do those last little tests so that you can make a smooth transition. And the last thing is dream a beautiful dream. And so again, going back to this beautiful Empress cards, God is saying that we are able to dream beautiful realities. We can bring anything we want to this earth, and the only thing that blocks it is ourselves. Okay. And so God is saying, follow your own rhythm, dream a beautiful thing, and focus on the light. Oh my God, I can't make this up. Focus on the light, double confirmation, light. God is just saying you only make change when it is no longer in alignment with who you are and who you're trying to be, or this light being that you are. Okay. All right, y'all. That is all the messages I have for you. This was a mouthful of a message, but it was really just telling us that we need to address all of these things head on so that we can truly become the person that we are meant to be. And so I will leave you guys with this quote one last time. And the quote says, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it was faced. Thank you so much to our elder and our ancestor, James Baldwin, for that beautiful quote. Now, guys, until we meet again, dream those dreams. Never let the internet rush you, and never, ever let someone tell you what you cannot do. Remember, Honestly Sis is an independently owned and operated company. If you wish to support or you love what you hear, please consider donating or becoming a member at www.honestlysis.com or find us on Substack. If you're not able to donate or send a tip, you can also help us energetically by sharing this podcast to your favorite social media timeline. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for helping me make my dreams come true. Now get out there